And onto the swatching. Okay, so this is a Hahnemühle book I got right before my trip and had never tried it before. And it is actually made of bamboo paper. It's not, I wish I had the packaging still. It's not the thickest paper. It's actually quite thin. It takes water medium really well. So, time to swatch things. I think I'm going to give it a start with my Stabilo chunky woody 3-in-1 pencil. It's supposed to be similar to Neocolor 2 pastels in that it's like a crayon and you can get a lot of variation with big lines, but then it's also water soluble. Okay, I'm going to have to write in pencil what everything is next to it. So here's the Stabilo woody, and there it is being water soluble. Hey, let's try putting it back in a little more. Okay, so it's like bleeding into itself. That's nice. And here we go. Okay, so you could use that with Neocolors. You could use that with watercolors, inks, anything water soluble that invites mixed media. That would be fun to explore. So, France Art Haul. This is the Stabilo woody. I think the color is 880, and it's a fun color. These are meant for children, but I like getting a couple supplies that are kid-friendly, especially because I have a niece that I love to do art with, so that's fun. Okay. Let's see. Other water-soluble things. Here's the Winsor Newton Promarker watercolor. It's got this nice fine tip, and it's got a big brush tip, and this is really dark because it is Payne's gray. So let's see what happens when we brush it out. And again, this is not watercolor paper. This is bamboo paper, and I am really impressed with how it takes water. Very exciting. So I actually used this in this sketchbook already. I used the sketchbook itself as like the little palette where I would dilute into lighter gradations. And then when I needed to pick up more color, I would put it on the side, pick it up, and then bring it over here. See, it's just so much fun. I'm glad I got this. I was a little worried that I got too dark of a color, but the Promarker, Payne's gray, I mean, you can't get darker with one of these. So if I started with a light one, I mean, I guess you could layer it, but I'm glad I got the dark. I think it will work well. I'll show you another piece when I do a sketchbook tour. Very impressed with that. Okay, so Winsor Newton Promarker watercolor. Okay, onto the Faber-Castell Goldfarber Aqua dual marker. This one is light cobalt turquoise. They give it number 154. And we'll see what happens when I mix them. So there's that one. This one is vintage pink 195. And this one is sand 281. So they blend pretty nicely with the brush tips by themselves. And use a water brush or just a regular brush to mix them. They get really pretty. In combinations, and then when they have like the blurry edges or the blooming edges into slightly drier pigment, oh, it's quite nice. I've used these in combination for an architectural study that was really fun. Yeah, you get that beautiful gray there. So I got these 3 colors because they approximate 3 of my favorite watercolors, and I'm excited to try to use them together. With the same architecture study I was giving these a try on, I used some of these Uni EMOTT pens. Oh, first let's label these. Faber-Castell, Goldfarber Aqua, and I'm just going to put the numbers, 154. So here are my favorite watercolor combination, favorite neutral soft watercolor combination that makes a beautiful gray, Potter's Pink, Buff Titanium, and Cobalt Turquoise or Teal, depending on which brand. And here are the fine tips of these markers I forgot to show you before. This is actually on the back page of this sketchbook, and it's against the cover. It still actually takes the water medium very well. So I just wanted to show you that. Those are pretty close, I think. I'm pretty happy with that. Okay, so these are Uni EMOTT. Never seen these before. They're by the register. I think they're another cheap material. They are kind of waterproof, kind of water soluble, somewhere in the middle. And they do have numbers on the back that I think correlate with the colors, but that's it, doing them. But I thought it was a nice color combination with what I was getting already. This one, blurry. See, they just pick up like a little tiny of the color in the water, but they're mostly waterproof. So pleasantly surprised with that. Didn't know what to expect. I actually really like the light one because the dots get really dark, so you can kind of like plan your piece ahead of time with architecture with the dots and then connect the lines. Now for the Faber-Castell Pitt pens, I was looking for a fine liner in all of them, but I only got it in the cobalt green 156. And I kind of, the numbers are consistent in the brand, so if you can find them, like this one is light cobalt turquoise 154, and this one cobalt green is 156. We've got cobalt turquoise 153. Brush pens make me a little nervous because I always tend to not be able to keep pointy edge for too long, but they'll be fun. And then this one, they'll be fun while they last. This one is phthalo green, which is still in the same arena. Pretty close. 161. This is the Koh-I-Nor Versatil 5348. This is just beefy. This is nice and thick, and you can do big, especially on bigger paper or when you want to cover bigger areas faster. You can't get too fine of a point unless you sharpen it, but you can get nice, big, easy lines like that. Big shading, just so easily. Not sure the lead number. I'm gonna guess somewhere in the middle, probably HB or B or something like that. So. Okay, time to try this ArtGraf. Here we go. You can get really fine lines actually. Not sure how to sharpen this. Maybe just try to keep the edge as sharp as possible. We'll get there at some point. And look at that. Oh, look how bright that is. I was not expecting the vibrancy there. It looks like it gets a little darker on the card. I have not been able to get it quite like that. But I like it. I'm excited to use that maybe for more urban sketching. And the color is ochre, like a lovely yellow ochre. That's pretty vibrant for yellow ochre, but I'm liking it. Okay, next is the cobalt turquoise. See, I'm obsessed. And that is not as, it's more blue. It's more like a sky blue than green, like more than aqua green. Some of these are, this cobalt turquoise is pretty blue. It's interesting. Some of them are just very blue, some of them are very green, and some of them are just like perfectly turquoise, depending on the brand. So it's a pretty color. I like it. I've not ever used Granulating before. Looking forward to playing around with this one, seeing what it can do. I like that they can be bought individually. Okay. Oh, I also got this beautiful buttery pencil bag by the Oxford brand, and I can't wait to put some of my drawing utensils in here because I have a tendency to overpack, so this will limit the amount I can bring. And this sketchbook, which I got at Museum de Pastel, which was a shop that was entirely devoted to the history of the pastel blue, and they had I got this at a different location, but they had watercolor tubes and little trays like this as well, tins like that, and they had fabrics and they had candles and actual pastels, and this is just such a beautiful fabric. It's very thin paper. Have not tried any wet media on it, have not tried anything at all yet, but that's just going to be a special memory. Had 10 euro in my pocket that I had to use before I left the country, and I was like, oh, I guess I can buy that. One more thing. This was the last thing I got. The sun is changing, so hopefully you can see okay. Maybe I should have filmed this a different time of day, but here we are. So now we're going to try the Lefranc Bourgeois Paris brand of gouache, which I've heard wonderful things about, and this they got a little smushed in transit, unfortunately, but they made it back. Oh, it's not exploding. That's a good thing. Okay, move over here. This is the Lichen Gray. It's made from pigments PY42, which is yellow ochre, and black and white. So it would be easy to mix, but it was just such a pretty specific color. Someone else on the retreat let me use hers, and I wanted it. Just a beautiful warm gray. And one of the things that most inspired me on this trip were all of the sycamore trees and their beautiful, beautiful bark. And I thought, you know, these two colors, maybe with a couple additions, but these two colors together would make a beautiful combination for sycamore trees. That one's a little pressured from the plate, but I'll put on that palette and it'll just be fine. So this is the Storm Gray, Ultramarine, Black and White, PBK9, PBW6, and PB29. Very nice. And then if you mix them together, it's more of a neutralist gray. Kind of completely neutralizes into a just pure gray. So that's great. That is great. I love what I can do with these together. So we've got the lichen gray and storm gray. I'll write the pigment numbers later. The brand is the Franc. Bourgeois? No, I don't know how to say that. Paris. Okay. Finally, the pastel blue, native to this region of France that I was visiting, and it was everywhere on the shutters, and it was fascinating how much history there was about this color and the importance to the culture, and I just could not resist, so I had to get it. Beware though, it smells intense. I wouldn't say it is a great smell, definitely earthy in the tin and comes out really strong right away, but then you can lighten it. I haven't tried adding white gouache to it, but I think it would do some really beautiful things with an opaque white, and once it dries it doesn't smell at all, so not too bad. It's just very beautiful, lovely dark blue pigment. I'm not sure about the light fastness. That would be really nice with the Promarker for some value studies. See how light that dried once I put water on it? Get back over here. That got really light. So you can do layers of this. You can come back and draw on top of it. I'm really liking this Raphael brush. Yes, that has a very fine tip. Holds a lot of liquid. Nice and long. This will be fun. This will be fun to play with. I wanted to compare the pastel blue on its own and with a little bit of white gouache. So the top row is just the watercolor and the bottom row is adding white, and that is the color. That is the color of all the shutters and all the towns we visited on this trip. I think it's amazing what the opaque white does. We've got the Colored Giants Lyra multicolored pencil. And the Platinum Preppy fountain pen with the cartridge. And the Tombow water-based brush marker. Now these are not water soluble, but because they aren't water soluble, on paper like this, you see it's curving a little bit, but it is really resilient. Like it will flatten out once I close the book and let it stay a while. It's great paper for a wet medium. It can take a lot of water. So if you know that about your pens, you can use it to your advantage. You can do washes with them. Okay, that's interesting. So this ink is more of a warm brown, and this is more of a cool, warm black, and this is more of a cool black, or gray once you dilute it. It's got a lot of blue in it. Let's see. And again, you can work back into them, even when they're wet, get some interesting results. I'd like to see what happens when they're partially wet still. Last but not least, I'm going to swatch these 6 colors that I got on the retreat. And the Glacier Blue, the Glacier set. I'll share the names of these in a minute. And I've actually also swatched them on watercolor paper, so I'll show you that to see if there's a difference. Because some of these are very granulating. I'm curious how well they turn out on this paper. Because granulation is something that is one of my favorite things about watercolors. That's why I love watercolors so much. But it doesn't work on all paper. It doesn't work the same on all paper. It takes a lot of experimentation. I have not successfully gotten things to granulate on hot press paper, but on cold press or rough watercolor paper, the granulation is gorgeous. That one's doing some pretty cool separation. So is the red. Phthalo green, that's beautifully bright. This is another granulating one. Okay. It's actually doing some pretty cool stuff on this paper. I expected it to granulate not so much. So I'll let those dry. I'll show you. I already swatched these out in a watercolor sketchbook. So you've got the Shinhan Lilac, that's a gouache, this one, but everything else is watercolor. So this one is quinacridone gold. This one is called Volcano Red. This one is called Shire Blue and Phthalo Green. All of those are by Schminke, a wonderful German brand that makes super granulating colors. And you can see the Volcano Red is really intensely granulating, and not very many reds do that. I haven't found a red that does that. And it's even granulating on this paper, which is fascinating. I also had to do a little color mixing chart for these colors. So we have the quinacridone gold, the volcano red, which just makes everything it mixes with super interesting with the big red granules. Oh, can't wait to explore that more. The lilac, the Shire blue, phthalo green, and this one is Undersea Green by Daniel Smith. It's an American brand. I love Daniel Smith watercolors. And what's interesting, there is no blue in this set, but if you mix the lilac and the phthalo green just right, you get this pretty pastel blue. Fun fact, the right purple and green can actually make blue. I know, it's fascinating. Oh, and we also got this portable travel watercolor cup that I've been wanting to get one like this. And it just happened that they gave us some on the treat, so it was a little goodie. And your brush can sit on it. Ooh, your brush can sit on it, like, so it's rests there when you're painting. You don't need like an extra brush holder because you can just rest it on top of this collapsible water cup. So very cool. The last thing I'm going to swatch today, as the sun changes and my paper stays out of focus. Okay, I'll write those names later. But I think I got a pretty good variety of things to try out here. The last thing I will swatch is this Glacier series that a fellow retreat attendee and friend was kind enough to gift to us. So sweet. Let's give it a whirl. Here's the Glacier Blue. This is again the Schminke brand. It's a German brand and they have amazing watercolors. Let's pick that water up. Wonderfully granulating watercolors. Okay, it takes a minute to separate sometimes, so we'll give it a little bit of time to dry. This one I love, Glacier Turquoise. I mean, big surprise, right? I am obsessed with the turquoise, especially the cobalt teal, cobalt turquoise, which is definitely in this mix. Although it doesn't have the pigment numbers on this sheet, I know them for that one. I know there's cobalt teal in that one. And Glacier Green, here's another one, the cobalt teal. I believe this one is my favorite combination of cobalt teal and Potter's Pink. Yes, oh, I love this color. I have this color. She picked the right colors for me. It was a surprise, but I would have chosen this set for this color alone. Oh, it's such a beautiful gray, the pink undertones and the teal popping through. Such a neutralized, there you go. So you can see the Potter's Pink when I lift up a little bit. Oh, so pretty. I love this color. You can see them separating a bit, I hope. And then we got the Glacier Brown. And the Glacier Black. And it helps to push like more concentrated pigment into a waterier area and then move it around a little bit. Well, that one's starting to granulate and dry already. Coming up next, I will be doing a travel vlog on the retreat itself. Just wanted to show you how beautifully these dry. The Glacier Schminke Super Granulating Set. Glacier Green. It's my favorite. Very pretty. And I almost forgot to swatch my Blackwing pencil. These are amazing from what I've heard, and saved the best for last, I guess. Almost forgot. So I'm just going to sharpen it. Maybe I'll get obsessed with these pencils. That's a scary idea. Okay, so here's the Blackwing pencil. The different colors mean different things. So the black is, oh, you can barely read it, but it says soft right there in the light. So I'm guessing this is a B lead, one of the softer leads, which means it should get pretty dark. Oh, and nice and smooth. Let's see, blend's really nice. It is very soft. It's buttery. It's very, very dark. This would be wonderful for sketching. Oh, it like glides across the paper. That's lovely. Okay. Blackwing, soft. In comparison, this is the just cheaper standard pencil. That I got at the museum. But the Blackwing, oh, it's so smooth. It's just so smooth. Cannot wait to sketch with this. So I got one more little thing, besides the water cup. Something to transport my water in. I got this in the airport in Paris. I didn't get to visit Paris on this trip, but I was in the airport and I was like, oh, I need a water bottle. And it clips onto my bag with a little clip. Nice and easy, and just enough. Yeah, I thought it was perfect. Because I've been needing one like this, so that's it. That's the whole bag. That's the art haul. That's the swatching video. Thanks for watching. Bye. Be here now. See you later.